Also erst in Rumänien, jetzt in Frankreich, nochmal ein führender Politiker aus dem rechten Lager wird aus die Wahlmöglichkeit weggenommen, aus das Rennen genommen. That's right, people. Marine Le Pen was convicted yesterday of some financial crime, and that's what I'm going to talk about today in today's Insanity Report for Germany. People, it's Tuesday, the 1st of April, 2025. I wish this would be an April Fool's joke, but it's not. As I said, when this happened in Romania, they're going to start doing this in the other European so-called democracies as soon as they get the chance, and that is what it looks like is happening in France at the moment. So Marine Le Pen, I don't know exactly what, apparently she took money and paid it to staff out of the wrong bucket of money. I don't know, it doesn't make much sense, but even if it's something that is illegal, if it was illegal, she's dumb for having done it, because especially politicians like her should steer clear of, giving the other side any ammunition to shoot them with. Because what's happening in Europe right now, in unsere Demokratie, is that every leading right-wing politician is going to get taken out of the race. It's going to be made impossible by the EU elites for these politicians to run for office, right? They're trying to do it here in Germany with banning the AfD, right? Doesn't look like that's going to happen, but they're trying, right? In Romania, they took Georgescu out, even though he was the leading candidate. The people of Romania expressed twice that's the guy they want for president, and the courts and the EU elites said no, right? Now they're doing this to Marine Le Pen. And the reason why the way you know that this is a political witch hunt, whether she did anything or not, right? I think this sounds like one of those crimes that basically all of these EU politicians and all of the politicians are doing, but it's not really considered a crime unless they want to charge you with it, right? So it's like all of the politicians are basically pissing away money on something or another, or using it, misappropriating it, so sending it to a pot they're not supposed to send it to. And that's kind of like what it sounds like Marine Le Pen did. But let's assume she's totally guilty. Let's assume that she is a money-stealing criminal, and that she stole money, a financial crime, right? She still has the right to appeal this case. Also Berufung, she still has the right to appeal the case. And during that appeal, none of the punishments that were put upon her for her conviction will be enacted, except for one. So she got convicted and she got sentenced to a 100,000 euro fine. She has to wear an ankle bracelet for 2 years, and then she'll be on probation for another 2 years, right? And the most egregious punishment, and the most, I would say, undemocratic punishment, is that she also can't run for public office for 5 years. How weird, huh? That her party in France is like the leading party now. The people have said, okay, we've had enough of all this leftist bullshit. We want Marine Le Pen and the right-wing party, right? As soon as they get too popular, they cut that bitch off at the knees, right? Just like in Romania, just like what they're trying to do in Germany. And all of these people will be on TV going, unsere Demokratie ist jetzt sicher, wir schützen unsere Demokratie. Yeah, it's these people are utterly horrible. They're disgusting people. So let's assume she's guilty, right? She embezzled money or something. And now she gets to go to appeal it. And during the appeal, which could take a long time, she didn't have to pay the 100,000 euro fine. She didn't have to wear the ankle bracelet yet, and the 2 years probation doesn't start until the appeal is over. But she is immediately excluded from running for office. So basically, that's the goal. right? That's how you know that's the goal. You know why else that's the goal? Because Christine Lagarde, the president of the European Central Bank, was actually convicted of financial crimes. But they said, well, she's convicted, but we're not going to punish her in any way. And she could be the president of the European Central Bank. So it's funny how the people on the right get convicted and the harshest, most crazy punishments get put against them. But when it's on the left, it's like, no problem. We'll give her a pass. It's Christine Lagarde, guys. All right? She's too important, She's too big of a figure. We can't really punish her. That's crazy. Ursula von der Leyen, also under investigation for some sort of corruption with the mask deals, I guess, right? Still president of the EU, right? No problem. And I know people are going to say, yeah, okay, but she's CDU, so she's not on the left. Yes, she fucking is. She's just as left as Friedrich Merz is, right? They're all on the left, right? Because Europe has made this new thing that the right is no longer part of democracy. Everything that's not left is extreme far-right Nazism. That's what these EU elites have tried to install in the public eye, the public way of thinking. And that worked for a long time, but now the public is not going along with it anymore. So now they need to start using other measures that are at their disposal in order to just force everybody's hand in order for them to retain power. See, because that's the most important thing to the left. The left sees everything that kept them in power is breaking down. People aren't believing the mainstream media anymore. That was one of their major tools in order to propagandize the people into believing that the way they were doing was the right thing, right? That's falling apart. People are not trusting them. People are not trusting the media. People aren't listening anymore to their bullshit, right? They have no real policies except for trans rights and more green and let's take away more of money from rich people. That's about all they got. So they're not very popular either. So without the propaganda, their popularity is going way down. They see that their grip on power is they're losing their grip on power, right? They see that. And since they have no way to propagandize the public, they just have to take out the enemy at all costs, right? No matter what. So basically, Marine Le Pen has been taken out at the knees by the EU elites and the European establishment so that she can't run for office and so that there's less of a chance that the Rassemblement National wins any races in France, right? That's the same thing with Georgescu. Nope, Russian influence, he fucked it up, he can't run. I mean, even if you look at America, the witch hunt that was reported against Donald Trump, right? They couldn't take him out of running for president. They still left it up to the people in the end to say, okay, well, if Donald Trump did something that bad, then we won't vote for him for president, right? And they didn't take him out of the race. That would be the most undemocratic thing ever. Because it's up to the people to decide if what Marine Le Pen did was so bad that she can't be president because they vote for the president, right? Right? It's the people. It's supposed to be us that make those decisions. But no, those decisions are all being taken out of our hands. They're going to make it impossible for people to vote for the AfD because they're going to try to take the AfD out. They made it impossible in Romania to vote for Georgescu because they just took Georgescu out of the race. Now the same thing's happening in France. And yes, a lot of people are going to say, well, she's probably guilty, otherwise the judge wouldn't have fucking convicted her. And maybe she is, right? Maybe she is. But it can't be that bad because, again, when the politicians are on the left, they get a free pass. Christine Lagarde still has the top position in Europe, right? And she was actually convicted of crimes after her appeal, right? Christine Lagarde should be in prison, or at very least not be the president of the European Central Bank. Ursula von der Leyen should probably be in prison, or at least not be the president of the European Commission, or the European whatever it's called that she's the president of, right? But they're all right. They're all right. They're part of the establishment. They're part of the status quo. And as long as you go with the status quo in politics in Europe, you can commit any crime you want. But if you go outside of the status quo, you're fair game and you're going to get shot at. That's what they're saying, right? And like I said, the reason we know this is political is because if it would go the way it's supposed to go for any other criminal, they go to appeal and the punishments don't happen until the appeal is done. Because what's now going to happen is now she can't run for president for the next 5 years. While she's doing her appeal, which will take a couple years probably, right? Then the presidential election is going to happen. She's going to miss out on it. And then her appeals judge, or appeals court, might say she's not guilty, which means she could have ran now, right? So that's what they're trying to do. It's obvious that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to hide behind the law, and she was corrupt and she embezzled money, but they're hiding the ball for you guys, right? They're saying, guys, we can't help it, she was corrupt, right? But just in case this court was wrong, we're going to take her out of the presidential race now instead of waiting till after her appeal is done. There you see it. It's the EU elites, it's the EU and the European politicians that want to go along with the status quo. They will go to any measure to hold power. They want no change. That's why they hate Trump. That's why they hate Orban. That's why they hate Georgescu. That's why they hate Le Pen. That's why they hate the AfD, because all of those people and parties are disruptors for the status quo. They need to keep them out for as long as possible, because they also see what's happening in America. The status quo was broken in America by voting in Trump. The Democrats are crushed. They're probably not going to even win another election again for decades, right? Decades. They're gone. Their power is useless. They have no power, right? They are basically, lame ducks. That's it. And the European elites, the leftists, right? They don't want that to happen. They don't want the same thing to happen as in America. They want to keep their power. They want to keep their paychecks. They want to keep their status. And they will go to any length to do it. And I said this when it happened in Romania, and now I'm saying it again much sooner than I thought. But people, I think that in Europe, in the countries of the European Union, it sure does look like we're going to have two choices in the not too distant future as citizens. And those choices are going to be subjugated by tyrannical politicians that have basically gutted any form of democracy and have now claimed all the power over every facet of your life for themselves, or rise up against them. Those are it. Maybe there'll be another chance to vote them out, right? But it sure looks like the elites and the European politicians are trying their damnedest to make it impossible to vote our way out of this drama, right? So hopefully we'll have another chance here in Germany that the people can finally vote for the AfD and give them a majority so that they can rule alone, right? Because that might be the last chance we have for an actual democratic vote, a real free vote, real free election, right? Because these elites and these leftists are doing absolutely everything they can to stop the democratic process in their tracks by eliminating democratic candidates and always the front runner for the people. Because they see that the people are tired of this shit. They see that the people are done, and the people are starting to vote differently, and they want to stop it. And it's obvious. It's obvious with this. It's obvious with Romania. It's obvious with Germany. So people, start thinking about what you guys are going to want to do. How far are we going to let them take this, right? How much more of our democracy needs to be killed, murdered, raped to death before people finally say, that's it, right? How much longer? How much more? Start thinking about it in your head. How much are you willing to accept? How bent over are you willing to be? Are you willing to kiss the ring? Are you willing to kiss their feet? Are you willing to lick their feet? I mean, decide for yourself, because that's where they're taking us, right? They want control over everything in our lives. And they want to make sure no one else that can disrupt the status quo will be able to take their power away from them, and they will do anything to keep it. They do not care about the people. The enemy of the people are these governments. They are the enemy of the people because they're voted in by us to do things in our interests, and every time they do anything, it's against our interests. I mean, can't get it much clearer, people. It can't get much more obvious. So start thinking about how you want this to play out for your future and your family. Are you going to stay in Europe? Are you going to eventually be there to fight for your rights, to stand up for your rights, to go against them in some way or another? Start thinking about it, because we are going to be faced with this choice at some point in Europe, because this shit is too crazy. All right, another bad news day, I guess. So guys, if you want to get all my stuff delivered directly to your inbox, all you have to do is subscribe to my Substack for free, or for $5 a month to support me. Either one is fine. I would appreciate the $5, of course. But all you got to do is go there. Nothing gets censored on Substack. I'm on my 8th TikTok account already. Nothing gets censored on Substack. Nothing gets removed. Nothing gets taken down. There are always notifications for everything that comes out. You'll get my articles, all my videos, and you won't have to worry about missing any, because you will get a link to them sent to your email inbox as soon as they're published. So that's the place to be, on the Substack. It's all about logic.substack.com. It's all about logic.substack.com. No censorship, no banning, no taking stuff down. Whereas every other platform, you just never know. All right, people, that's it for today. Hopefully the news gets better throughout the week. We'll find out. Have a good one.